Welcome! In this video, we'll explore essential React interview questions. Whether you're learning React or preparing for an interview, this guide will help you understand core concepts step by step. Let's dive in. So, let's start with our first question. What is React? React is a powerful JavaScript library that helps developers build dynamic and interactive user interfaces. By breaking down the UI into small, reusable components, React improves code modularity and efficiency. Let's look at the example code. Here, we have a basic React component called app. This function simply returns a heading element displaying, "Hello, React." It demonstrates how React components return JSX to render elements to the DOM. What are components in React? Components are the building blocks of any React application. A component is essentially a function or class that returns a piece of UI. They allow you to break down the user interface into smaller, reusable parts, making your code cleaner and easier to maintain. Let's look at the example code. Here we have a simple functional component called welcome. It returns a heading element with the text, "Welcome to React." This illustrates how easy it is to define a reusable UI element using a function. What is JSX? JSX is a syntax extension of JavaScript that allows you to write HTML-like code inside JavaScript files. It makes it easier to write and visualize the structure of your user interface directly within your JavaScript code. JSX ultimately compiles down to regular JavaScript. Let's look at the example code. Here, we see JSX in action, creating a simple heading element. Although it looks like HTML, it's written in JavaScript, and React uses this to render the actual elements on the page. What are props in React? Props, short for properties, are used to pass data from a parent component to a child component. They are read-only and help make components reusable by allowing them to receive dynamic data. Let's look at the example code. Here, the welcome component takes a prop called name and displays it in the heading. We pass the value John to the welcome component, which results in "Hello, John" being rendered. What is state in React? State is a built-in object in React components that holds dynamic values that can change over time. State allows a component to remember things and re-render the UI when the state changes. Unlike props, state is managed within the component itself. Let's look at the example code. In this counter class component, the state holds a count value, initialized to 0. Whenever this state is updated, the component re-renders and the updated count is displayed. What is the virtual DOM? The virtual DOM is a lightweight representation of the real DOM that React keeps in memory. When a component's state changes, React updates the virtual DOM first, compares it with the previous version, and then only updates the actual DOM where changes occurred. This makes React applications faster and more efficient. What is the difference between a class component and a functional component? Class components were traditionally used to manage state and lifecycle methods, while functional components were stateless. However, with the introduction of React hooks, functional components can now manage state and use lifecycle methods, making them more concise and easier to write. Let's look at the example code. In this example, we see the same component written as both a functional component and a class component. The functional component is simpler, but with hooks, both can now manage state and lifecycle methods. What are React hooks? React hooks are special functions that let you hook into React features like state and lifecycle methods in functional components. Common hooks include useState for state management and useEffect for managing side effects like data fetching or DOM manipulation. Let's look at the example code. In this example, useState initializes the count state variable to 0. Each time the button is clicked, the count is incremented, and React automatically re-renders the component with the updated count. What is the useEffect hook? The useEffect hook allows you to perform side effects in functional components, such as data fetching, updating the DOM, or setting up subscriptions. It takes 2 arguments, a function and an optional array of dependencies. The effect is rerun whenever the dependencies change. Let's look at the example code. Here, we update the document's title each time the count state changes. The second argument, count, ensures that the effect only runs when the count is updated. What is the difference between state and props in React? The key difference between state and props is that props are used to pass data from one component to another, while state is used to manage data within a component. Props are immutable and read-only, whereas state is mutable and can be changed by the component itself. Let's look at the example code. Here, we see a parent component that manages the name state. This state is passed down to the child component as a prop, which then renders it in the UI. While the state is internal and changeable, the prop is passed and remains read-only within the child component. Good luck with your coding interview. If you've watched this video in preparation, we wish you the best. For those who are still learning, keep practicing and refining your skills. React is a powerful tool, and with persistence, you'll become proficient in no time. Subscribe us and also like the video if you find it a little useful.